I started a success magazine in Norway to teach people how to really become successful. And I spent all of my money, and I borrowed a lot of money from the bank. And after 12 months, the success magazine went bankrupt and took me with it. I was living on top of the hill of the biggest house in my town. Everything went down the drain. So my biggest failure is called success. Isn't that fantastic? But the really irony behind it was that the company behind the magazine was called Success Unlimited. That was really fantastic. So I learned a hard lesson there. But back to where I started 60 years ago, I sat down with my wife. And I said to her, are we going to continue after 30 years of great successes after my failure? We sat down and said, are we going to continue to do business just to make money? And at the best case, be the richest guy in the graveyard. Or do we want to do something which lasts much longer than ourselves? And at the time, I've been working more than 30 years in and out of Africa, had many companies there, and done a lot of business, and understood what was needed to help Africa out of the problem it has. So we took on. So I said to her, let's take on the biggest goal that we can think of. Let's eradicate poverty in Africa. She said, Rino, let's do it. It was easy to say, but of course we had to find out what do we need to do in order to eradicate poverty in Africa. So we decided that we had to find out who were the poor people that we were going to eradicate the poverty from. And that was easy because you could find that anywhere. 70–80% of all the people living in Africa, they are poor farmers getting their money from the ground. So I said, okay, we have to make a business concept because you see, I have seen over all the years in Africa how aid money coming from my own country, Norway, and many other countries, given to African countries. That is the most stupid thing that can happen. Reason being that the people who gets the money, country to country, is smarter than the one giving it. They find a way to steal it faster than they can give it away. That's why I don't believe in aid at all. Except for in catastrophes, of course, when they need urgent help, that's fine. But money given to country is totally wasted, the way I see it. That's why I wanted to find a way to do it a better way, a way that was based on social entrepreneurship. So everybody made money, from the poor farmer and all the way up to the one who financed the whole thing. And, you know, from my failure at the time, you know, I don't know if you know about Napoleon Hill. He was a famous author. He said one time, many years ago, that every failure carries along a seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. And, in fact, my benefit from my biggest failure was that I will never, ever borrow money from a bank again for my business. Never. No bank manager in the whole world will be able to give me money and say, take it, percents or so. Never. It must be self-financed and self-driven. So I created a company called Better Globe Forestry 12 years ago. And it's the first time in my life that I've been in an entrepreneurial business. In fact, for 12 years in a pilot project. That's what we have done. Today, we know exactly what to do. We have tested everything and we know it. And I don't know if you know it, but today, in fact, 50% of all the trees that used to be on this earth is gone. And it's going down at an ever-expanding rate, very fast. So we need more trees to save this globe for many different reasons. So I said to myself, when we're going to eradicate poverty from the smallholder farmers, at least they know what to do with the earth. They can plant trees. They don't have any education, but planting trees they can do. So we said, let's make them our partners and plant trees. So I decided that in my lifetime, and I want to be 100 years old, so I still have some years to go. So that's why I said to myself, let's plant as many trees as there are human beings on this planet. So that's the Better Globe vision, to plant as many trees as there are human beings on this planet. And the way we have to do it is to work with the smallholder farmers around in Africa. What we do is actually very simple. We make them our partners, and they plant trees, they make money, we make money, everybody. And like I said, we don't want investors into our company. Nobody can buy any shares in our company. It's not for sale at any price. If people say everything is for sale, not our company. It's social entrepreneurship. All the money we make will go back to the principle of working that we're doing to eradicate poverty and corruption in Africa. Now I'm very lucky because I have the motor, the engine of making the money by planting the trees and see to that we sell the trees later on, make a lot of money on it and spread it on all the people. However, on the eradication of poverty is my business. My wife, she runs an NGO called Child Africa, and she has taken on the corruption part, teaching the children how to be honest and have integrity. I've written many books. One of them is called Put Integrity First. And that one we are using in schools to educate the children. And when we do, start with the small kids, when they grow up, they will be strong enough to resist the corruption. We have, in fact, created a magazine called Bingwa, which means champion in Swahili, which we give out free to the schools in Africa, in East Africa to start with, and all over Africa in the years to come when we get money enough for it. So as we grow, the kids grow, and they will eradicate poverty, eradicate corruption, because they will be strong enough champions to say no to corruption. So we have found that planting trees will be the engine, the money-making thing, and then we are giving them microfinance, the smallholder farmers. We give them microfinance to kick them off, and it's important for poor people also to keep their dignity. You see, you might not know it, but even the poor people, when they don't have money, they will rather make money themselves than having handouts. Seems strange maybe for you, but that is the truth, because they want to keep their dignity and self-esteem. And that's the way to do that. So we are creating businesses with them. And I can tell you a little story about the business we do on microfinance. And that is, in fact, when the smallholder farmers, and particularly the women we give microfinance, one of them came to me and said, you know, this is fantastic. Some years ago, I was just about to leave my husband. He was a drunkard and he beat me. Now, I borrowed money to buy a goat. Then I got 2 goats. Today we had 20 goats. And my husband has come with me into the business. He stopped drinking and he stopped beating me, and we are business partners. Just because they could borrow some money. They never did that before. So microfinance was a part of it also. Then, of course, we had to. There's no country in the world that can eradicate poverty without educating the children. That's why Child Africa takes care of that part. So the triple way of doing it, which now, after 12 years, we have proven beyond any doubt, it really works. Planting massively trees, giving microfinance to kickstart the whole business for them, and then educate the children in the years to come. That's the way we do it. And let me tell you also, in order to finance the whole thing, we have used something called crowdfunding. That means actually that we are not going for big investors to buy stocks of the company or anything. That's not possible. Now, what we do instead is to get everybody who wants to participate. And that is now taken to the whole world. Up to now, we have just done it locally in Scandinavia. And we have sold tree. One can buy a tree. We have 2 products. One is a tree. The other one is a donation package. And that's the only donation package in the world, I think, that you can buy it. And it's giving 100% of what you buy is given to poor people. Still, you remain with 2 trees, which over 20 years will generate 7 times more money than everything you gave away. Isn't that a fantastic system? So in fact, it's a sustainable system. Thank you. So we have created that, and we have tested it over 12 years. This is the first time, like I said, I've been 12 years in a pilot project. Next year, you will all hear about Better Globe, one way or another, whether you like it or not. You will not escape. You're going to be part of it, one way or another. And it might not even cost you anything. But you will help us, because now we are ready to take it to the world. And you see, what we are doing is actually selling trees to people. You can buy one tree, you can buy 1,000 trees. Yesterday we had a seminar in Gothenburg, and we sold 17,000 trees, in one place, in the seminar. And that will create so much for the communities that you cannot even imagine before you can see it and be with us and understand it. But it all goes into the chain. The poor farmers get money, we help them grow the trees, we make money for them, and all the community make money for them, the company make money, and the ones who have bought the tree, they own the tree for 20 years, and then we buy it back at the price so they can estimate correctly what they make of money. It's unbelievable. And even me, who started it so many years ago, today, when I see how it works, I'm amazed and excited. Really excited, because I have seen how it really gives back to the people. And of course, when we spread that out through the whole world, we can take on the whole of Africa. And we will eventually eradicate poverty. So let me also explain to you that when we have a tree, we have spent 2 years just to find the right tree. It's a mahogany tree that one can buy, that we grow in semi-arid land. That means in the semi-desert, because many people, they plant trees where there's a lot of water and people are growing food. We don't take any food crop away from the people. We plant trees where there's nobody, where the poor people live and they have nothing. That's where we're going, and change the dry land into green land. By that, we're eradicating poverty one family at the time. You see, it is only, I would like to say, maybe I can say it in English that you understand it. It is very simple. It's very simple to eradicate poverty in Africa. Very simple. Basic principle that works, and you just have to speed it up. But I didn't say it was easy, because you need a lot of cooperation from people and in every way. So it's tough to do business in Africa. But it's simple in the principle. It's easy. I could tell you how to be rich in 10 seconds. It's always easy, the solution. It's only to spend less money than you make. And over time you'll be rich, isn't it? It's very simple. I can tell you how to be slim also in 10 seconds. It's only to eat much less than you consume, and then you burn. And then you are in good shape. So that's easy, like I said, but it's a lot of work to do it. We have everything in place. Now we have managed, and we have won a lot of prizes there. We are acknowledged by all the countries' governments in Uganda and Kenya, where we work today, and we are very happy with it. Let me tell you also, I told you that we're going to plant about 8-9 billion trees in my lifetime. I estimate my lifetime to be 100 years old, like I said. And that's a good name, the number. And that means I have 28 years left. And I'm looking forward. I'm more excited about the next 30 years than I have been for the last 30 years I've lived. It's had a fantastic life. You know what I have done? I have even planned my 100th birthday. I have grandchildren, big ones. And my oldest grandson, I have planned with him that he and me, on my 100th birthday, we're going to go up in an airplane, and I'm going to parachute for the first time as the only 100 years old, as the first 100 years old who parachute alone, not hanging on somebody's back. No way. I'm going to parachute alone, and I'm going to get into the Guinness Book of Records. And if I don't make it, if somebody else has made it before me, I'm going to be 101 or 102 or 103 until I get in the book. However, I have told him that by any means, if him and me are there on my 100th birthday, and I don't know who I am or why I'm there, he can kick me out without the parachute. That's okay. You see, one thing I'm sure you appreciate and understand. How many of you, can I see a hand? How many of you like to give away things? That's almost everybody, if not everybody. I agree. I don't know who said it or where it's written, but it's written somewhere that whatever you give out will come back to you many times. And I can tell you, there is no principle in the whole world that works better than that. I get more pleasure, I get more happiness than I have ever made of any money I've made in my life. And I made quite a lot of money. That cannot be comparable to the happiness when you see that things are growing. These poor farmers turn around their lives, become self-sustained, and forever they will be self-sustained. You know, to be part of that, it's such a great happiness that you know, I can't get up early enough in the morning. And I'm sorry, I have now decided that, of course, when you look upon, let's say I have 30 years left in my life, I have decided that I will have to make it 60 years. And I found a way to do that. Very simple. You see, most people, when they think about years and working years, they work 8 hours a day, isn't it? Well, I work 16 hours a day. So now I have 60 years, isn't it? That's a smart way of doing it. Now I have another idea. And that is, in fact, I'm working now very, very straightforward on to make myself double my efficiency, those 16 hours. How many years do I get now? 120 years, you see? So all these things, I fool myself, but that's okay, you know, as long as I can do something good in the process. And I can tell you one thing, when you do something that is your passion, your life changes. I really hope, I'm not going to ask the question here, but one thing for sure, one day, I hope that all of you will come to a situation where you can work your passion and live. I don't work. I'm playing or doing my hobby, that's all. And you can never get tired of doing your hobby. And the pleasure you get from doing all these things, it's unbelievable. Of course, it is a big goal to eradicate. You don't know how many people who have laughed in my face when I said, well, you know, we're going to eradicate poverty and corruption in Africa. Yeah, that's something. But now we are doing it. You know, after 12 years, we have planted roughly 1 million trees, which is not a lot, but that's a good start in the pilot project. Now we know what to do and how to do it 100%. Correct? Now we're going to speed it up and plant millions of trees every year. And we have eradicated poverty for roughly 4,000 families forever. And we have roughly, thank you. And we have roughly put 10,000 children to school, which has no way of coming to school apart from that. But that is just the beginning. That is in the pilot project, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the next 30 years, we will plant 8-9 billion trees. We will. I have planned it, and it will happen. And we will eradicate poverty for millions and millions of poor families. And many millions of children will not only get education, but they will become champions to fight corruption in the years to come. And you see, there must be champions. And you know, I am sure that one of you who has integrity, who can predict to say to himself, I am an honest person, I have integrity. I bet any amount of money that you learned it from your parents or from your teachers or from your family, isn't it? When you were a small kid. That sticks to you through life. That's why we focus on the kids today. So we will Better Globe planting trees and Child Africa planting seeds in the mind of small kids to become champions. You won't believe it. My wife said to me when I said that we want to eradicate poverty through the children, she said, yeah, but you know, how does the children understand what corruption, absolutely, corruption to the children. How does the children know what corruption is? You cannot tell a 3-year-old what a corruption is. So I said, let me think about it for a second. Then I took a napkin and I drew a monster, my way of making a monster. I said, you know, all kids know what a monster is. And she said, yeah, that I knew. So now we call that monster corruption. And we tell them that there is a monster called corruption that's going to take away all the good things in Africa that belongs to them. And you know what? We told them in the school one day, and 1 month later we came down there and they made a play for us. They had put one of the biggest school teacher, made him into a monster with clothes and everything. And he was sort of he was killing all the kids. The monster came and killed them. Then the champions, the bingwas, the small children, they rose and they attacked the monster and they killed it. So, you know, that way we got it into the mind of the small kids that the monster called corruption, we must take care of it. So that's the way we have done it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just end up my little talk here today by saying that, yes, eradicate poverty and corruption in Africa is no walk on a bed of roses. It's tough, hard work, and we need all the help we can get. If any of you would like to be part of it one way or another, you will see it. Just remember that a Better Globe Forestry will work on these things. And I think there is a lot of people here, men and girls, or men and women, shall I say, with white t-shirts with Better Globe on, who can tell you more about it later on these 3 days. So I just want to say that whether you believe that we can do it or not, I would like to say that after 12 years, I believe we can do it. And one thing is for sure, I will never, 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 ever give up. Thank you very much.